Dear media representatives, dear colleagues, dear Daniela, first of all, I would like to firmly support every single word that Daniela has said so far, and I would like to add on 2 points. Austria's experience with regard to the COVID pandemic and the consequences on gender-based violence, and the Austrian development policies and the priorities with reference to women's rights. First point, like Montenegro, Austria has noted an increase of violence against women during the pandemic. In concrete, bearing orders have risen by 10%. I can provide you some figures. In March, we had 972 bearing orders. In April, during the lockdown, already 1,076, and now more than 1,000 per month. The number of calls to helplines has risen even by 50%. So what are the Austrian efforts trying to prevent violence against women, especially in COVID times? First and most important, information, a comprehensive information campaign. Information flyers have been distributed in shops all over the country. Information is available online, and a big information campaign has been carried out in daily newspapers. So by these measures, we try to reach to all segments of the population. Several helplines are run by the government and by civil society organizations. And as I have mentioned, we have noted a rise of up to 50% of calls to these helplines. Furthermore, a specific helpline for men at risk of resorting to violence due to stress increased by the pandemic has also been established. What else have we learned? In a case of infection with COVID-19 of a victim or a perpetrator, a close cooperation between health institutions and the police and victim organizations is needed and has been established. In response to COVID-19 exit restriction, the filing of restraining orders has been simplified, and it is possible to file such orders now electronically, by post, or by telefax for a certain period of time. And a special care time up to 3 weeks for children until 14 has been introduced, and also this measure somehow introduces stress situations at home. Now let me come to the priorities of the Austrian development policies with regard to women's rights. As a general rule, the Austrian Development Agency, ADA, requires all project partners to make a contribution towards gender equality. In practice, this means that ADA supports measures to ensure the equal participation of women and men, girls and boys in all its projects and programs. The recognition and reduction of unpaid care and domestic work is essential in this context, and promoting the equal participation of women and men in political and public life is therefore another focus of ADA's gender work. As we know, key factors in achieving these goals are the fight against sexual and gender-based violence, as well as reproductive and sexual health and rights. Another priority in ADA's work is a gender-responsive budgeting, which means taking into account gender equality in government planning, programming, and budgeting. And by incorporating gender-responsive budgeting in its constitution, Austria has also set a good example in this regard. The gender equality map of Montenegro is one of others successful projects in the region, and I'm glad to announce you that several more will follow very soon. Last but not least, gender-responsive reporting. Freedom of the media and safety of journalists are key priorities of Austria's human rights policies. Austria therefore organizes trainings for journalists, highlighting the role and responsibility of the media in combating gender-based violence, stereotypes and discrimination in society, and in promoting diversity, equality and inclusion. Special emphasis is placed on safety of journalists and online harassment of female journalists.